Let's welcome to the Conclave, which is happening down here into the middle of the floor, our panelists. Please welcome Kartik Bhatt, the Chief Operating Officer, GCC and Far East Asia of Sharaf Retail. Solomon Rajesh, the Managing Director of Swan. Yes, give them a round of applause. Tapan Vaidya, the CEO, PJP Investments Group. Mohammed Imtiaz, the Regional Head of Business Development of Amazon Payment Services. And Mohit Gadam, the COO of Asidus Global. The session will be moderated by Piyush Chauhan, the Chief Information Officer of Panda Retail. Guys, the floor is over to you.
Thank you everyone for joining. I know it's a great panel to have, and there is a reason why we are sitting on the same level as the audience. Yeah, so that we can understand and feel each other, and we can have a great time. So let's put a little round of applause to begin with, if you don't mind. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. What we are going to do in about 50 minutes is, and then we'll leave 10 minutes for Q&A at the end. Is this sound clear for everyone, or is there an echo? There is some echo going on. So if audio people can fix that, that would be better. Digital is everywhere, right? And there is no doubt about it that digital has become the center of each and every corporate strategy. And what we will kind of dwell over the next 15 minutes is to try and figure out where these trends are, what are the things that we are seeing. And for that, we have people from various industries, and we will try to go much more deeper into each and every topic and try to get their views about it. So let me begin with this. Kartik, if I were to start with you, putting you on the spot, what are the large trends in your industry that you're seeing from a digital trend, from a MENA perspective, and where do you see it going?
Thank you. To give you a perspective, at Sharaf Retail, we have a combination of brands. We have fashion and lifestyle space. We are in the adventure retail space, in the service retail space. And each of these businesses or industries sees a very unique trend. If we were to start with fashion, historically, all of us thought that cataloging and getting good product on the platform is the be-all of the business. If you have products, consumers would come and shop from it. Today, it's moved a little beyond just having products on the catalog. Creating a sense of fashion conversation on the platform has become pivotal. You need to make sure that your UX UI is important, your convergence too, which is the product, the service, the experience, and the social community comes together. Discounting is no longer the route that works. Personalization of the journey to make sure that the consumer gets what he or she looks forward to. When you move from fashion into keep in mind that in a geography like UAE or a geography like KSA, for that matter, cost of acquisitions become that much more from 70 cents CPC. We are living in an era of $2.1, $2.2 per click, which typically puts a 16-17% higher cost of on your acquisition, and hence driving repeats through a very strong last mile fulfillment services, and UX becomes important. When you flip the coin and move to a category as niche and as diverse as Adventure HQ, which is in the outdoor and sporting space, you realize, again, having products, it's a beautiful thing. But all of us believed in the COVID era that consumers know exactly what they're looking forward, which typically is not the case. When you bring people onto a platform, if your UX is not diversified enough to make sure that the customer intent is captured right from the time he comes onto the platform to exit, and the entire loop is covered within the time that he's expected to go through, you will not see business. Again, we bring in an era of a very strong mobile commerce, social commerce. That trend is continuously not only building the average transaction value, but also incubates a very strong sense of repeats in the business. So 2018, 2019, we were living in the 4-5% digital share of business. Today, we see around 26-27% share of business across businesses. At some point, we expect that would go up to 30. But a lot of people have been talking over the last few weeks, or last few months rather, that would digital stores replace the brick and mortar stores? I completely disagree. I think we live in an ecosystem of coexistence, and we all need to learn how to coexist. Yesterday, I was at one of the summits where somebody asked me, is conversational AI going to replace human beings? The way human beings have started coexisting with machines and technologies, the two formats would coexist. So that's what we see at Sharaf Retail in the business.
Excellent. And I think you've given a very great context. And one of the important thing is that two takeaways. One is phygital is the way forward. Yeah, it's not either digital or physical. It's the phygital which is the way forward. And since you have reached about 25, 26%, and you have made a prediction that it will peak up at 30%. Which is a big thing, because in US, for the categories that you are talking about, it is going as high as 50 to 60% in those markets. So there's a long way for this region to catch up for that 20% over the next few years, and so there's a big opportunities. Coming to you, Mr. Tarun, what is it in your space? I know we need to wear good things and keep our house well. But for you, food, right? How do you see, what are the digital trends that you're seeing?
So let me start by addressing something Karthik talked about. Brick and mortar stores, are they dead? Absolutely not, and they are not going to be dead, as you rightly said. And what is digital? Digital, you order digitally because there is a brick and mortar store going to deliver to you. And so that is never going to go away. I think the question, as far as our industry is concerned, is whether customer-facing restaurants have future or not. And I believe, yes, it does. And I think consumers in the UAE and around the world have proven since the pandemic that dine-in business has come back, strongly. And we have seen, at the height of lockdown, we had zero dine-in business. That has now climbed slowly towards 30% of our total business. And that's a very healthy mix. And I am counting on this reaching 40 plus by 2025. So brick and mortar, absolutely here to stay. Use of tech and the trends in our industry. It's interesting. Obviously, different business models use technology differently. We, I think, were one of the first to use technology. We actually had online ordering as early as 2011. You could order from Papa John's. But what has happened is companies in the restaurant space have started looking at technology in a mix of two ways. One is use of technology to generate data and use it to make decisions. The other is use of technology in a utilitarian sense. And then the question is, what is the right mix? For different business models, the mix is different. So what we do is we use tools like PAR Business Intelligence. We use communication tools for our teams to use Zoho People, Connect, Click. We use Microsoft Teams. We use in-restaurant. We have a number of different technologies. In fact, there's something very interesting we are piloting as I speak. We are using artificial intelligence to understand the quality of pizzas being made every day. We have installed a camera above our, what is known as a cut table in the kitchen, where every pizza comes, gets sliced and boxed. There we have a camera that takes multiple images of every pie, and then those images obviously go to the cloud, and AI software then basically scores every pizza. Let's take, for example, a large pepperoni pizza. It is supposed to be of 13 inches in diameter. It has got to be 13. It should not be 12. It should not be 14. The camera will tell us whether that is the case or not. The customer has paid for a large pepperoni pizza, he should get a large pepperoni pizza. Then, next, it will check how many centimeters of crust that they have left. In our Papa John's product, we leave a crust without cheese. And that's very important, which is normally dipped in a garlic sauce, which is another legendary product. So these things are checked. Then, a large pepperoni pizza would have 36 slices of pepperoni. Now, during peak hours, in that pressure situation, sometimes team members tend not to count and may undertop a pizza or overtop a pizza. Not good either. And so this camera will actually, the software will count how many slices are in this pizza and then flag it if there's a problem. And the best part is, it also checks distribution of the pepperoni, whether every slice has equal number of pepperonis or no. So all of this basically helps the consumer get a great product. And what we do is, we encourage competition amongst our restaurants as to the restaurant with the highest average score for every pizza a day. And so technology is used well, our teams start performing, and our customers start feeling great about using Papa John's. They keep coming back, and that's the game.
Excellent. So I think a brilliant use of AI. I would love to see one day robots making pizzas, although it has been talked about for a very long time. But we have heard these two gentlemen who are kind of building a very phygital model. So if I may want to come to you, Sudhakar, you are a platform play, yeah? And you are enabling this ecosystem as such. How do you see, what are the trends that you're seeing from the geographies that you operate, and what are the things for MENA market that you bring to?
We are a B2B e-com company in the food and grocery segment to begin with, right? So what we've seen is that the MENA market is evolving in a similar way to the West when compared to it. So when you see the food and grocery business there, discoverability of products and the pricing is a very, very important part of the business there, right? So we see people, these small businesses which are getting online there, they discover that, hey, you know what, we can source best products at best prices. So the initial catch here is that the pricing, right? So it's going in a similar way. If you look at the average online consumer in the US there, the typical consumer used to order about 19 online orders a year, right? Whereas in the MENA region, it is about 4 to 5. So in terms of that, the average MENA consumer is about 20% of what used to be do in the West, in the West, right? So if you look at the average basket size, we are comparable with others in the market. An average order is about $150 US there. So the growth potential for companies in the region is phenomenal, because we've barely scratched the surface in terms of the reach and the scale of it. So we see fantastic things happening there. And if you look at the e-commerce evolution in MENA region there, it's a bit of different when it comes to the West. It's first people get online, and then businesses follow there. In this region, the businesses haven't really followed the consumer. They were lagging behind, which is a kind of a loss of opportunity, but I think they are playing catch up there. So I see fantastic potential for the businesses there. And if you look at, say, players like Amazon, the e-commerce business thrive on the small and medium enterprises there. Now, if you look at, say, a player like Amazon there, they have about an assortment of about 850 million sellers on the marketplace, right? Whereas the largest player in the Middle East market have about 8.5 million sellers on their platform, right? So if you look at the scale, I think we have barely scratched the surface there. So the trick is, how do we bring more businesses onto the platform, show them the global market, access to the global markets, give them the best products at best prices, and serve the consumers at a global level. So we have to look at it two ways. One is that do we see the local market as a source of revenue and growth? The other thing is that can we take the products from the Middle East, global, and look at global opportunities there? So that is a sync that we are seeing the trends happening there. One interesting trend that we've seen is that people from Middle East are shopping on Chinese portals. That's a trend. Why on earth do a online shopper in Dubai or a Saudi wants to shop on a Chinese portal there? Because the reason is very simple. The assortment that is available in the online shops in the Middle East there, they have limited assortment there. So we are just about catching up with the curve. We are way behind it, but I think the good thing is that the businesses are catching up.
Excellent. So I think very encouraging words. Thank you. And I think, I don't know how many of you shop on this Chinese portals that he's talking about. Maybe we do a little raise of hand and say that how many people do it. Shein, right? Shein, yeah. That's a very popular portal. All right.
So you'd be surprised, Piyush, the use of Chinese portal. Shein did this survey in October, November 2022, and 76% of the respondents didn't know the origin of the portal. People are not worried whether it's a Chinese portal or a Japanese portal or an Indian portal. What they're worried is if they're able to give 2,000 new styles every day, if they're able to deliver at a price point and a time that is commensurate to the geography and competitive to the market, I would buy. I would buy from a portal in Mars if it delivers to me.
Yeah, and I think the key point here, and I think you also touched upon, Sudhakar, is that there is a catch-up game which this region is doing in terms of 2 or 3 things. One is our customer experience may not be at par with some of the global players, which is a big opportunity. The penetration as such is still lower as compared to any other geography. So if you take, let's say, China or Southeast Asia, we were having discussion before this, and we realized that Southeast Asia is a much more penetrated market as compared to this region, whereas the buying power in this region is far higher than what is there in South Asia. Yeah. So there is a dichotomy that needs to be solved, and I think that is the potential that every retailer is looking for. Unfortunately, till we solve the customer experience problem, we will not be able to reach there, and that is where platforms. So if I may come to you, I'll come to you, gentlemen, after this. You encourage cross-border commerce. What is it that you're seeing? Is that a big trend, and how do you see in this region?
Thank you, Piyush. So I think if you look at the data, right, so look at 17-18, the Deloitte numbers that came out. MENA as a region, KSA, UAE, and the other countries in the neighboring, the focus countries that everyone has the business right now is 80% of the B2C packages being delivered to the consumer doorsteps were coming from the other regions, which means consumers were buying it on Amazon.com or some other foreign websites, like Shein is one of them. And the packages were ending up to the consumer's doorstep here in the UAE and GCC region. Then COVID happened, and today when you look at the numbers that have come up today, this was the last Deloitte survey that happened in 22, I think November 22. That 84% of packages delivery now has come down to 41%. So COVID played a very vital role, I think. It changed the dynamics. People realized that cross-border trade is very big business. Also, there's another side to this, which is the brands that are wanting to go to the newer markets. Look at the dynamics of Indian brands or foreign brands that are there. So let's take an example of a coffee brand which is in US. They are the largest coffee brand in the US and European market. They were not here in this market. But every month they were getting few thousand orders from this region. And every single order was being served from either Europe or Americas. But the customer was here. Today, we've made them locally available here in this geography, and the customers don't have to wait for 10 days to get a package, or 7 days. They order it today, they get it tomorrow at their doorstep. This amplified the business 4 to 5 times, just in a matter of 6 months of the brand being available here. So the customers, I won't agree more to what Karthik said, right? It's about the cataloging, it's about the availability. It's not about the pricing anymore to the consumer to a larger extent. when you deal into consumer products, which are highly repeat purchases, food, grocery, personal care items, once the customer sticks to it, they tend to stick to it for some time. The repeat purchases are quite decent and high in these categories. And you can't change the buying behavior of the consumer overnight by an advertisement. And you can't just say that I'm going to increase my price by 20% or decrease it by 20%. The consumer who's sticking to you will stick. But decreasing it by 20% might not bring the same amount of consumers to buy your product again. So this whole behavioral change in every geography, especially to this region, I have worked in this geography when there was no Amazon, it was Souk, then there was no Noon. And I've looked at that journey when people had to wait for 7 days to come for a package. And now there's this different dynamics of the business where brands want to get into this region, and especially KSA, a very, very high focus market for every brand to enter into. And the only and only reason is the internet penetration. Every consumer in the country has access to an internet phone. If they decide to, they can download an app or go to a website and place an order and probably get it delivered the next day. And then there is a bigger change with what both of them said about the food and grocery business. Quick commerce coming in the players like Talabat and Noon Grocery, I think that has played a very big dynamic role. It was only a world before where you could get a 30-minute pizza delivery. Today you order your groceries and you have it in 30 minutes or 15 minutes now at your doorstep. And we have a very strong focus on the personal care industry that we belong to, right? So if I look at the trends that have changed on the cross-border factor, so let's go to something like sexual wellness products, condoms or tablets or capsules or anything which were, highly restricted products in the region, or they were controlled to a larger extent. Now that the doors from the regulations have opened up on this, there is a lot of influx of these products coming in with the regulation opening up to the rest of the world. And quick commerce has made it even easy. You had to buy a packet of condoms, you had to walk to a medical shop and buy it, making you uncomfortable to a larger extent. Now you come to this world, you have a discrete packaging, order it on the app, and 15 minutes after that, it's delivered to your doorstep. No one knows what just happened. And that is just increasing the usage, that is just increasing the growth for the consumer, making it more convenient. And again, what Karthik said, it is all about availability and catalog. The coexistence of a consumer with retail and online will always remember. The first purchase the consumer probably will do in this segment in the store, because he wants to understand, feel, get the feel of how the product feels, and when I take it in hand, how do I use it, probably the usage directions. But once he hooks onto it, the next step is online, because it's more convenient. Just open your phone, sit on your sofa and order it, and it'll come to your doorstep.
Excellent. I think you have opened up very interesting catalogs and interesting categories for sure, which I think is a big opportunity. There are a lot of products specialized, because we have people from almost 150 nationalities in this country. So the assortment which is to be offered is very different. So if I may come to you, Solomon, you work in a very difficult category. I understand that quite well. Yeah. While there's a mad rush of delivering in 15 minutes, which my prediction is that will die down in about 2 to 3 years totally. What are the trends that you are seeing in this space? You started very big bang in the COVID era, but how have you evolved, and what are the things that you're seeing now?
Yeah, thanks, Piyush, actually. Yeah, well said, actually, in terms of coming in from a grocery industry, it's matters here where we see that cash burn is always there in grocery. One good thing is one works for grocery and also for the service vertical. So we'll go one by one. For the grocery side, if you look at actually, we are more of an aggregator model. So compared to this industry, we see that people go behind, retail brands, right? So it means that we are working towards having right brands in the platform so that we have the spread of users into our platform. The multiple, considering Dubai or considering Middle East, actually there's again multicultural people, and there is a lot of specific varieties required for them. So our focus is towards that. And the trends I see here is again, people will look at one-click payments, which they want, in a click they want to place order. And rightly said by Mohit, one important part is the quick commerce evolving. That is something which is changed things, because I see here, every problem a customer faces, that's been converted into a business for sure. For example, we started as if, next day we need something. Then we moved into, hourly basis. Then we moved into, I need it next 2 minutes. Yes, I get it. So that kind of the evolving has been happening in this industry, and that's why this quick commerce has come in. So every problem a customer, it's been transformed into a business. That's a major trend which Mo has rightly highlighted. And one more thing, again, recently we saw about this robotic deliveries again. That's where we were thinking about, and now it's going to happen. So this phase has been a very, very recent trend which is happening in this industry. And also, again, social commerce is again, people are now moving towards apps and also looking at WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, where, even the brands just post and get those, users following up. So everyone after COVID has been into new normal now. It's been normal before, but after this COVID phase, it's a new normal now because every trend, every retail sector are into e-commerce and everyone are into competition. If you see at the other service side, in terms of services side, in online cleaning services, or we will say beauty services, whatever we are doing actually, if you look at any app like Kareem, even the Smiles and all, they're looking at exploring the multiple verticals. It means after a few years, we are looking at multiple super apps in the industry. So that is where we are heading into. People cannot be, sticking towards one side of the business and look at, okay, there's another app coming in. Then it will be like a huge chunk of business going into only few top major brands when people are fighting at the lower levels, right? So this is where I see, these trends are going towards multiple super apps and the competition levels. And the right person who are very agile in terms of, getting into the requirements, problem solving of customers, will capture the market first. But that is not going to stop also, because customers now wanted to have options. They want to have multiple options. Even if you look at each one's mobile, you will find at least 2 to 3 apps in them, right? Because customers' preference every time changes. Tomorrow there'll be something new comes up, there's another new app comes in. People want to have that also. So that kind of opportunity is there for the businesses. At the same time, the huge markets also have the opportunity to capture this. So this is in terms of this market, I would say.
Excellent, and I think you raised a very important point. I don't know how many of you, again, just trying to get a pulse from the audience here. How many of you believe that super apps is going to be a big thing in the coming few years? If anyone, there's a few set of people who believe that super apps, so which means that you just delete, you don't need memory. iPhones will be selling phones with only 32 GB and nothing else, which is what we should be moving towards. But let's see how it goes. Coming to you, Imtiaz, you are the giant in the room here, yeah? So I know you represent the payments part of the business. Yeah. But you capture a large part of the trends. What are you seeing, and how is the positioning? Because in this part of the world, the mobile penetration, the digital payments is amongst the highest in the world. Yeah. And that opens a very big market. But I think still the charges and everything, which everybody feels is still higher than any competitive market. So what are the trends that you're seeing in payment, and how can payment ecosystems change this whole landscape?
Thanks for the question, Piyush. Just for everyone who doesn't know what Amazon Payment Services do, so we are a full stack digital payments infrastructure provider for enterprise businesses, SMEs, e-tail, insurance, anything that any customer wants to pay online, we power that. And we are present across 9 countries in the MENA region. Because we serve close to around 4,000 merchants, we are fortunate to kind of see the trends, like what's happening in different countries and different segments. So last year we've seen, obviously COVID was a moment, but last year after COVID has settled down, we've seen some bit of normalcy kick in. And we see around 35% growth in our existing merchant segment. Obviously, the segments are different. There are food delivery apps, there are insurance, there are e-tail. But at an aggregate level, we see quite a strong growth from an online commerce perspective. And we are seeing around 35% year-over-year growth at an aggregate level. And this is in the backdrop of the accelerated cash to digital digitization that's happening. Like, for example, in Saudi Arabia, MADA, which is the local debit card payment, recorded like a 43% year-over-year growth, right, in terms of value, and around 50% in terms of volume, right, which is phenomenal, right? And this also combined with the young demographic, right? The demographics in the region, I think less than 34 years contribute around 65% of the population versus a world average of 55%. So that combined with the entire digital digitization that is happening, I think the companies organization understanding the need to move very fast to ensure they have a very good digital payments strategy, right? And in the earlier session, I think when Tamanna was speaking from Kearney, she was talking about the key challenge for organization to adopt digital technologies, right? Whether it's AI, payments, or anything. And when we see the graph of the rate of innovation that's happening outside versus the rate of innovation that corporates are happening, where at the corporates, it's linear and exponential. So the rate of digital innovation happening is exponential, and the rate at which corporates are catching up is linear. And that gap can only be filled if either you really have a very good strategy, or you start partnering with technology providers who are experts and who can act as a real partner. So in terms of the trends, what we see in digital payments, you called out increasing charges. I think this region notoriously has one of the highest MDRs, obviously thanks to all the reward points that we are all getting. But that is changing, right? That's changing from two aspects. I think governments, both in Saudi Arabia and UAE, kind of realize that, okay, you really need to kind of have a scheme or have this national payments infrastructure, just like what's happened back in India with UPI. Both even in Saudi and in UAE, with MADA in Saudi and in UAE are also announcing instant payments. I think these two will definitely start bringing down the cost for the businesses in terms of MDR. Other trend that what we see, as also Mr. Sudhakar and Karthik also mentioned, that selection is a key factor for customers, whether it's product or whether it's payments. So enabling as many payment options which are upcoming, right? So there are multiple wallets which are coming. There are multiple buy now, pay later options which are in the region. So offering that, and the demand for that from our customers has increased. So they're like, hey, when are you going to launch the new upcoming wallet or buy now, pay later? So affordability is a very big play, especially in high ticket size categories. And because like markets like Saudi Arabia, the access to credit is very, very limited. So these are the main two trends I see, both on cost and affordability aspect.
If I may,
Sure.
the very good point about the cost to operators. Now, we have a ready example here. We have been trying to incorporate kiosks, customer-facing kiosks, touchscreen in our restaurants, and the biggest stumbling block has been cost of integrating the POS with the payment gateway provider.
Yeah.
Now, the customers don't want to place their order and then queue up at the cashier and make payment. They want to pay there, and that's how it should be. But it is such, I mean, the cost is absolutely prohibitive. So now we are working around that and hoping that maybe we'll crack that in a couple of months, and then, but this is a big deal.
And I think that's a very valid point, and I think thanks for summarizing these opening remarks. And one of the things which came out very strongly is that whatever enterprises are doing or whatever platforms are doing, the customer is always a step ahead. Yeah, and unfortunately, every organization, be it digital native or non-digital native, is doing a catch-up game. Yeah. And I was speaking to someone, and what is happening in this digital world is customer wants a first-class ticket at economy class prices. Yeah, and is it possible? And that is a problem that everybody is working towards. He wants first class service at an economy price.
And he wants loyalty points.
and rewards after that, yeah.
A point here is that customer is always obsessed with value. And globally, if you look at the Western markets there, we've spoiled the customers with too many options, right? If you look at the grocery delivery thing that is happening there, now people are expecting grocery deliveries in a span of 15 minutes, 30 minutes. There's a mad rat race that is going on, even way back in India also, like customer is expecting a 15-minute delivery, right? Now, if you look at what a pizza delivery guys used to do, a 30-minute delivery, a Pizza Hut kind of a thing that in India there, now they are confined only to a particular region, which is feasible, right? And the cost of doing business with this 15-minute delivery is insane and prohibitive. We haven't learned the lessons. Way back, if you go to the .com era, Webvan is the first casualty of the .com boom. The grocery did there. It is, you are in retail, in the food and grocery, you know how notorious business it is, right? Unlike in apparel, what Karthik has the advantage of having fatter margins. Food and grocery is notorious. So if you have this rat race of saying that I'm obsessed with the customer, I'm going to delight him and all this stuff, there is a greater chance of you not surviving.
Absolutely, and I think that's the most valid point. And who has spoiled the customer? Yeah, the customer wants it. Yeah, that's the reality that we are living in. But who has spoiled the customers? We have spoiled the customers by giving them choices which are insane. Yeah, there is nobody in the world who will die if they don't get groceries in 15 minutes. But we created a proposition, which is a false proposition, to serve something which is not needed. But if somebody says, yeah, give me a first class ticket at an economic class, I would not say no. Nobody would say no, but it's not possible. We have to work on unit economics. We have to be sane in terms of what the offerings are. And I think it is good that we are coming back to ground and the real business models are being tested as we speak. It is a convergence, right? And whenever disruptions happen, they go to either extremes. And that has happened. So the COVID digital acceleration has taken the business to the one extreme. Now it is climbing back. And as you rightly said, there's a balance. Yeah, it will converge. Maybe the fashion electronics category will converge at 50-50. Grocery, people are talking about, if we reach even 20, it's a very big thing. Yeah, it's a humongous task for any economy to say that 20% of grocery will be delivered online. So we'll see these trends evolve until unless there are very, very disruptive events which happen across the world, which we are clearing at this point of time. Coming to the second part, if I may again start with you, Karthik. We heard that customer is always wanting something, the organizations are struggling. If you see, there are 3 or 4 platform players here, all fighting for the same pie. People are stitching things together. Mr. Tarun will buy one AI solution to monitor his pizza, then he will buy another solution to build a robot, then he will buy a third-party solution to deliver. It's a very disjointed experience from his perspective, and so is the case with all the players. And the customer is getting frustrated with these disjointed customer experience. How do you solve this?
So interesting enough, if you take a step back and evaluate, there are 2 kinds of businesses in the e-commerce space. One is a venture-funded business which has unlimited pool of money to burn and evolve and imitate and grow and innovate. The second is a retailer like me, which typically funds the e-business from the proceeds of the P&L on a retail side. So continuously from day one, my dollars are going to be counted, and I will always be under pressure when I talk to people about 24% cost of acquisition. My retail business head falls off the chair. He says, I'm used to spending 2.5%. So when you talk of 24%, it's unheard of. So in our mad rush to acquire customers and fueled by venture funds where GMVs, NMVs, valuations are purely based on acquisition of customers, we made customer used to the concept of discounts, free deliveries, free shipping, cash on delivery, BNPL. Now BNPL adds up to around 3.5–4% on the bottom line. Then we've innovated. We said we've innovated, but we have given a customer another option that if my medicine and pizza comes in 15, 20 minutes, why can't fashion come to me in 15 minutes? Which means typically people order on a Friday afternoon saying that I want it for my Friday evening outing, a Forever 21 dress. It's impossible to deliver that, irrespective of whether I have the margins in the business or not. It's impossible to deliver. What we as a business need to take the customer away from, and that's just every business's responsibility, is to create a level playing field on the online space, similar to what we've been building in the physical retail space. The fundamentals of business continue to remain. It's the conversion, average ticket value, repeats, the RFM matrices that drive, and hence bringing in elements like recommenders, bringing in elements like personalization of the platform, bringing in assisted shopping, so as to make sure that you augment the customer shopping behavior on the platform. For example, imagine in one of my businesses, or historically people have been telling me that if a customer dwell time on the website is 7-8 minutes, you've done a fantastic job. Today, I challenge that. People spend 23 minutes on my website. They come 24, 25 times before they decide to buy a 40,000 dirham BMC bike, because that's the level of experience the customer is looking forward. If I intervene and create an intervention of an assisted shopping where I have a video chat or a bot or a humanoid available to assist that conversion, and then I have a recommender that adds to a bike, compression shot, a pump, a chair, a table, or whatever that is required along with a bike, I'm able to not only boost my average ticket value, but I'm giving a solution sales to the customer. I would rather use that as a bogey to drive him back into my business than to continuously offer him a 20 dirham, about 20% free delivery, XYZ, birthday gifts, marriage anniversary gifts. It's non-sustainable. So that's part A of the argument. Part B of the argument is, we build technology. We typically today, and more often than not, I see businesses adopting technology like they're building a wardrobe. I love 5 shirts at the shop, let me buy 5 technology elements. Are they even relevant to my business? What is relevant at what stage in my growth journey? What is my operating expense on my technology? Is it a SaaS-based model? The fact that GCC is one geography, actually GCC is 7 different geographies. Each geography has its own unique consumer behavior, buying behavior, language tendencies though. For example, if I have to do business in UAE, I cannot operate with if I want to do business in KSA, I cannot operate with a platform that's built for UAE. I need to have a completely different platform. I would rather invest on a headless commerce ecosystem to try and see how can I optimize my costs. How do I bring in plugins that are going to give me an incremental conversions? How do I use growth management platforms and CDP CRM to reduce my cost of acquisition? Why is it that I'm continuously dependent on PPC and not moving from PPC onto other platforms? So as a business, if we were to evaluate our expenses, evaluate what a customer requires from an experiential point of view, and try bringing in product, service, experience, and community together, we would start seeing referrals and repeats bringing in business at a more viable rates.
Absolutely, and I think if I may come to you, so this is B2C, you serve a B2B market. Are the customers so insane and demanding in your space as well? And what do you see from a customer experience perspective? Or are they more sane?
B2C also spoil the B2B customer as well, because now when he gets to the shopping experience of an Amazon or a Noon, he expects the same thing in B2B as well. But thankfully for us, because we are a B2B business there, the expectations are far more rational there. And more than the customer experience and all this stuff there, and pricing and sourcing is one big thing that really matters to that, because they don't expect a 15-minute or 30-minute delivery there, and in that case, right? For us, the most important thing is that what is the assortment that you have? Can we get the best tuna from Maldives or Philippines, or the best cost, the best quality there is the biggest thing that retailers and businesses are looking at. So the dynamics are quite different.
Absolutely, and I think that is the right thing. So for the customer, the quality and the optimal price, not a cheap price, should be what is important. If I were to ask you, cross-border trade, are our customers demanding differently? Customer experience very different across geographies?
I think, yes, to a larger extent. The demands are very, very weird in some cases, very different in some cases. So you have a set studies that are out in the market that, this geography would react to this kind of a product in this way. And you prepare yourself. So we are an enabler to bring brands to a specific geography and make them available onto multiple platforms. So that's our job. But you have this set data which says that, I think chia seeds would do very well in this country because it's tropical. So you should bring in chia seeds from multiple brands and it would do well. But then there is, when you actually bring up the product, it does not really do well. The consumer reacts to it very differently because they have a local alternative that is available, which is more proven and more used to, basically. So you have to figure out how do you get that product to be sourced from some other country where it is probably of a better quality. So what Mr. Sudhakar said was very right. It's also about a lot to do with quality. Cross-border trade, there is two different segments I would put the consumer into. One is the consumer segment who is the buyer on Shein, which is basically interest-based shopping, nothing to do with quality, nothing to do with any other factor. It's all interest, how it is looking and how is the look and feel, and then cost.
So Shein is not about quality?
You have good quality products, yes, but the customer is not buying it because of quality. The customer is buying it because of the good pricing and the good way it is presented to them. They are probably figuring it out after they get it that is it good quality or not, and then should I buy another one or should I return it back? And then there is another segment of consumer who's immigrated, migrated, has different food habits, different consumption habits, which is a large play of the cross-border business, where they want their local products to be available wherever they are. So either they buy it from the local marketplace, get it exported, or they look at an option which is locally available, which is very similar to that. So we are in a space of cross-border where our business is B2C, very similar to what Karthik said, and our focus is all about unit economics. If the unit economics are going to be viable and feasible, it's always good to launch the product there for the consumer, and if there is that kind of diaspora, that kind of demand. But if that unit economics, which is the basics of any e-commerce business, is not there, sooner or later, you will learn your lesson the hard way, and there is no denial to that. So it's always good to do that research beforehand, look at data, look at how the consumer behaviors are, study as much as you can before you enter into the market. I think cross-border can be done rightly only with the help of data and not just making availability there.
Excellent. Mr. Tarun, for you have been delivering pizzas in 30 minutes for donkey years, yeah, and nobody complained about it. But when grocery guys started 10 minutes, everybody in the world says, oh, they've gone crazy, they've gone crazy. What is it different in your segment? And how do you keep the customer loyal? Because everybody is doing that, right? All your competition is doing the same thing. It is more or less QSR is QSR. You have a particular set format. Everybody follows that. How do you differentiate customer experience?
So, the customer always wants everything as fast as possible. But I think the customer also wants good quality. And our consumers have realized that if they want a good pizza, they should wait half an hour to 40 minutes. And they are waiting, and if they get their pizza in 35 minutes, they're very happy. There's no problem. And they know that we make our pizzas after the order is received. Yes, groceries are always ready on the shelf before an order comes in. Not in our case. We actually start making every order after it comes in. So it's fresh, it's hot. Yes, it takes 35 minutes, but customers are happy. And so this is what we build on. And then, but in our industry, the bigger topic or issue is aggregators. Now, we talked about, who's caused this, who's dug the pit that we are all in. I'd like to think it's everyone, not just aggregators, but it's aggregators and operators, because operators agreed to sign up with all the aggregators, right? But this is what is happening, and sooner, there is balance between these two parties, operators and aggregators. Sense will prevail, progress will be achieved. The problem is operators think and know that the product is theirs. Aggregators think that the customers are theirs. And that's what the problem is. And there's no exchange of data, so the operators do not know the customer. And the aggregator knows everything about the customer. And that's where everything is stuck. And the operator typically does not want to pay the kind of commissions aggregators demand. That's where the business is, in many operators' cases, not progressing. This is not a healthy situation, and something is going to have to give.
Where do you see it in 5 years? Who will win?
I think the operators are never going to go away really because they have the product. I think customers will find their way to the operators, whether the aggregators exist or not. But the aggregators, it is really serious at their end. If they are not profitable sooner rather than later, they will be out of business.
Fortunately, even the businesses in MENA region haven't learned anything from the West or in fact even from India. We've seen the path where VC-backed companies go after scale. Unit economics go to hell. Just acquire scale, subsidize their costs. They believe that, they become monopolies after they acquire sizable size. And then they say that, I'm going to get value out of it. And there is this vanity metrics called as lifetime value of a customer, LTV, and this whole thing of GMV, LTV. These are what I call vanity metrics there, right? So, people start chasing these vanity metrics, and the valuations of these companies are insane, right?
Yeah, I think agreed, and I think not every business can be termed like that, but there are a lot of business which came up which did not have any sense of some of the unit economics and the metrics which are out there. So if I may ask you, you sell beauty services, massage services along with that. Is the customer experience very different from buying groceries out there? What is the customer wanting and demanding in that space?
So yeah, specific to this side, actually, I think we spoke more about groceries now. So see, here the preferences little bit changes, like the services, it's in terms of cleaning services, more of, house cleaning and things comes up. Beauty services, more of spa, massage services and things come up. So here the requirement for a customer is more of, having the repetition of a service from a particular, when person who has done it before, because they would have tried multiple places, they would have tried with multiple people around, and they want the same person to come again. That is where the challenge is. We again, there is two types here. We work on aggregator again, with multiple vendors pitching in, and there are apps which will give in terms of, choosing which vendor, but there are apps like us, we don't show which vendor does it, rather we do it with the Swan branding, but there is aggregator backend involved, right? So there, when customers demand, okay, I would need the same person, that's where the challenge comes in. So that is where the customer demands fall in place. So that is where we need to understand, actually, one point I also understood from, from Karthik and from Oath also is more in terms of geography based, right, is there. But what I understood in this past 5 years in UAE or the Middle East is it's more of an area specific, actually. People's mindset is changing internally within UAE itself. In UAE, if you look at actually, up to in MENA, there's a different kind of a behavior. If there is a Mirdif, there's a different kind of a behavior. Those kind of things needs to be observed. That is when we'll be able to, even go forward. Any case, in this past experiences, what I have seen is even in grocery also, if you look at actually the brands which we put across to the customers, might work in Mirdif, will not work in Mirdif. So our focus should be specific to that area and for the people there. That is achieved through the search analytics, as said, customer behaviors, patterns, and those kind of data need to be done and then worked out to achieve the right way of doing business. This is not only specific to groceries, it's about overall in terms of any services we look at, actually. Maybe one area works for the cleaning, one area works for the beauty. So that kind of thing is more specific. And there are more additional services coming up also, which we will look at, mother care, child care, painting services. There's a lot what not a customer wants online. So
excellent. And I think this is what he was kind of challenging, whether the aggregator model will stay for long or whether the operator will take it. Only time can tell. Both the models have their own merits and demerits, and without taking any sides, I believe that both have their own challenges to solve. Once they solve the challenge, let's see whoever wins. So coming to you, you gave one-click checkout to the world, yeah, which was a revolution in the customer experience. How can payments kind of deliver an excellent customer experience?
I think it's a great question and something that we keep debating and thinking about. I think, payments is a means to an end, right? So you don't really enjoy making the payment, like you kind of enjoy buying the product or the pizza, right? And especially in industries like airlines and everywhere else, like, you've taken a lot of time and effort to find the right ticket, right price, and then your anxiety level goes up as soon as you're hitting the payments, because is my payments going to go through? Is my OTP going to come? And like, am I going to lose that fare, etc., right? So I think eventually the way at least we kind of look at is how can you make payments as invisible as possible, right? But that also should come with like some sort of security and comfort for the customer that they're also that they're paying it very securely, right? So what we're seeing is now if you kind of order from one of the grocery delivery apps, the tokenization experience where you tokenize the card, right? All you need to do is just like order, and then in the back end and all the payment is happening. So it's no more like linear process. It's kind of becoming more asynchronous in nature. So that's one key trend, what we see, or the future of payments, that's where we see how it's going to evolve.
Excellent. You touched about invisible payments. I hope the MDRs also become invisible one day. So we have less than 9 minutes. We can take a time check here. I think all the panelists have spoken very well. If there is any questions that we may want to take from the audience, anybody has anything that, yes, the gentleman over there.
One of the things as we are, a couple of points that the customer is always ahead and continues to look for the value. This particular technology savviness and the knowledge savviness, as the days and the ages become more modern, the customer itself is becoming more of a seeker. At the same time, the businesses are trying to deliver to that. And that's where the world is actually, somebody coined a word acronym, VUCA, the volatile, uncertain, complexity, non-linear, and things like that. So that's the external part of the thing. But our own teams and our own talents are also within the same mindset. So continuous evolution, continuous driving, continuous delivery, and this particular aspect increases the difficulty, and then bringing down to creating a level playing field of creating some disciplines around it to manage some of the expectations, right? Some thoughts, some words of wisdom, how some of you leaders are thinking about approaching this to manage this method of madness. Would be enlightened to hear your thoughts. Thank you.
Touch upon talent. In the digital world, talent is the key differentiator. So anybody wants to add?
I think
first observation on this was, as you move from a brick and mortar business onto an omni or an all digital business, you realize cost of talent scales up significantly. GCC in COVID saw cost of talent, especially in the digital space, soared up by 234%. So the same employee that I used to get an X, I used to pay 2.5X to get. The cost has come down significantly. But with that comes a lot of expectations. With that comes a very strong sense of attrition. And it also brings in a flip side of scalability, sustainability, and more importantly, stability that is being offered. If we create which harbors, hones, and sharpens talent over a period of time and utilizes the talent in multiple functions. Gone are the days of a siloed, vertical, hierarchical organization. Today, we live in a very flat, project-based, PMO-based organization. I might be a part of 10 different teams. Out of that, in 7 teams, I might just be an observer. In 2 teams, I might be a doer. In 1 team, I might be a leader. So designations, roles have flattened out. People have moved on to a task-based, project-based structural team, and creating a very strong sense of leadership by opportunity and leadership by error is what is emerging in today's. We can't get it right. Nobody's got it right. If all of us had got it right, we would be sitting in potloads of money. Today, all of us are bleeding in the digital space, which means there is still a chance to improvise and create opportunities.
Thank you, Karthik. I will come to you, madam. But before that, I cannot leave this panel without talking about one buzzword. Yeah, the word which is taking the world by storm. Can anyone guess what it is? Chat GPT. Yeah.
GPT-4.
Yeah. It may be an overkill which is being done, but I just want to do a very rapid fire. Do you think it will change your? Maybe we'll go around from you. Very brief, if you can, and how? What will change and how?
So ChatGPT, or one step back, conversational AI will definitely change, because if today I'm expected to talk to Eva, I'm expected to talk to Bella, I'm expected to talk to Mendes, which is another chatbot of another airline trying to book my tickets. It expects me to adapt to 9 different chatbots and talk to them in 9 different manners. I would rather talk to Siri on my handphone and make Siri talk to all 9 of them. That's what a conversational AI tool is going to do, and that's where ChatGPT in the 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th version might bring in 2 ends of ChatGPT talking to each other instead of replacing a human being from the equation, and that's where I see its application.
I think on the payment side, apart from just ChatGPT, the overall AI is very important because there's a lot of data that's going through in terms of transactions, and especially, let's say, things like fraud management, etc. Right? So today there's a lot, though how much ever automated your systems are, there are still a lot of manual processes that happen in the back end or behind this clockwork of having this end-to-end payments transacted. So there we definitely have already started seeing implementation of overall AI to better learn from machine learning, as well as now making instant decisions whether you want to pass this payments through or not. So that's one area where we see.
Excellent. If you can be brief, and we only speak about generative AI. Yeah, is generative AI going to disrupt your industry or not?
So, just 2 quick things is actually, yes, it is actually, but currently if you look at it, it's more of a minimal task oriented where it does few quick tasks. So there is, there will be a time where we don't have to hire a content writer, rather it takes care of it. So those kind of things are, we can say it more positive and a negative way also. So that's what I see here.
I think in the AI, like he said, conversational AI, there's going to be probably a shopping AI that might come up.
So just to be very clear, there is AI and there is generative AI. Yeah, we are talking about the next level of AI that is there. Yeah, so AI has been there. We know all about it. It is going to play. So is generative AI is taking it to the next level where what humans are doing will be done by bots. Yeah. So for example, booking tickets, ordering food, and so on and so forth. Do you think that is way out? Do you think that is coming in the next few years? Just a crystal gaze.
I think it's coming in the next few years for sure. You will have these things coming up where automated cart orderings will happen for sure. You will have to set your parameters, and that I want my detergent to be refilled every 3 months, like a subscribe and save is already there. That's going to be the next step. AI will take that over and make your ordering automated, and you'll get your deliveries on time for sure.
Tarun.
So generative AI, will it disrupt? I don't think so. It will enhance our industry, but disrupt, no, because we will still need team members to slap a pizza dough. No machine backed by generative AI is going to be able to shape it in the way it is supposed to be done. As far as ovens are concerned, ovens do their job, and there's no AI in ovens. So disrupt, no. Enhance, yes.
I'll give you a scenario. Let's say I like the pizza medium crust, medium cooked, not very great cooked. But if I say order a pizza, it knows what my pizza is. It knows how much to bake. It knows what are the right ingredients. I need this many jalapenos. I need this many things. Can't this be revolutionary in your space?
No, well, yes. So if, for example, my mobile app has a chatbot, and you just talk to the bot that my pizza, remember my pizza? And that's it. So it'll enhance, but I don't think this is going to disrupt the industry.
Sudhakar?
If you go back in time when computers came in, people said, oh, computers came in and then human jobs are going to get eliminated there. It never happened there. So if you ask me, ChatGPT, is it disruptive? Yes, it is disruptive. In a way, it enhances the human intellect and intelligence there. But is it going to replace humans? Never.
Okay, thank you so much. We have 41 seconds left. I don't know if we can take one more question and then we can wind up. and we can do that answering. This lady has been waiting for a long time. If somebody can pass the mic to her.
Thank you. Insightful discussion, gentlemen. My question is to Karthik. When you talk about omni-channel and brick and mortar, your e-commerce model, your marketplaces working together, specifically, what would be the areas where the synergies could be brought in for improving operational costs? Very specific to that, operational costs.
One word answer, inventory. If you can get the inventory right, if you can get the customer journey, ROPO, which is research online, purchase offline, research offline, purchase online journey right, and create one view of the customer, I think that's the first step to omnichannel. Then you move into an endless aisle, then you move into a returns management, refunds management, payments management, assisted shopping. That's a long journey. But if you get your one view of the customer and your research online, purchase offline economics right, then I think you made a good beginning in the omnichannel space.
Excellent. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I think these people really need a round of applause. If everybody can just please do that. Thank you so much for having an enlightened conversation. I really enjoyed it and learned a lot from it. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.